So today we're going to cook some squash soup with pork. What I've done, this is kabocha or calabaza squash. It looks a lot like the acorn squash, just a little bit larger. So I've chopped that up. I'm boiling that. Now you're supposed to peel that hard outside off first. I do. I pop it in the microwave for about 1 minute just to soften up the outside, and then you get nice pieces. Chop it up how you want. Smaller the better. They cook more thorough. I did take some pork, and these were ribs. Just boiling those, and I'm going to bring it down to a simmer. Kind of skim all of the fat off of the top, and that's what I'm doing now. So you just want to clean up the broth. You don't want any of this stuff obviously in your soup base. So pork ribs, right? So we want to cook those thoroughly, obviously separate from our squash and our soup base. What I did use was a chicken base,
Papa,
and it's granulated.
Papa, your thing is fully charged.
It's granulated. I use this. You can use any kind of chicken base. I know I'm using pork, but I am not the one who made this recipe. I have not deviated from it. It tastes delicious. So chicken as the soup base with the squash. You're able to test that and not have to worry about getting sick from uncooked pork, because it is also in its own container. So 3 tablespoons of fish sauce, brown sugar. I use about a half a cup. I'm gonna actually mix this. It's gonna make a lot more than what you see here. And just flavor for your own taste. If you want a little more salt, just add a little more fish sauce. If you're not a fish sauce kind of person, you can always just use the salt. But keep in mind, you are using a soup base that has sodium in it, and the fish sauce does have salt as well. So if you have any health issues, just be mindful of the sodium intake as well as the sugar. So you really can't go wrong. This pork and squash is really just delicious on its own. We add a little bit of salt just to take away the bitterness of any of the squash. So we will let this come to a simmer here in a moment. Skim off any more of that unwanted fat from the bone, and then we will combine both of these pots together into a much larger one once the squash is thoroughly cooked. Okay, so we have our larger pot that we're going to put our meat and our soup base and squash in. I have this simmering. It's not all the way cooked, but I'm going to bring these ribs out and just cut them in half. I prefer it that way. If you don't like it or don't mind, you can just leave it whole. Put them back into the bath. So just take these out, cut them however your family is going to eat them. Throw them back into the pot. Now, when we're finished with this, we're going to let everything simmer until the meat is fully cooked, until the squash is fully cooked. A crock pot is a great way to minimize a lot of the work. Cleaning the meat is probably the most time consuming. I like to boil the ribs 15 minutes and just skim off that on the top. If you don't mind it, you can try it that way. I just have never deviated from the recipe, so it is held true for me and my family. All this broth and the squash together, we're probably 80% done in terms of cooking. So leave that on simmer. Add the rest of that pork broth. It will reduce down, so you'll get a much stronger flavor. Give this about 20 minutes. Make sure the pork is fully cooked before you taste it, so that there's no issues of uncooked meat. All right, so our soup is right where we want it to be. Squash is cooked all the way through. I've tasted it. It's absolutely where I like it. Just check your meat. You're gonna want it to fall off the bone and be able to be pulled apart. So what I like to do is top that with some green onion. So here I have 2 green onion. Let's cut this off. What I've been doing is saving the green onion and just throwing in some water until I'm able to get to the garden, and we'll do that in some future videos. I actually saved the seeds from the squash as well. I washed them off. I'll pat them dry, and hopefully in some future videos we can get these to sprout as seedlings, and we'll eventually put them in the garden as well. So let's clean up these onions real quick. Little rinse. And I love green onion. I'll eat this all day, every day. So it makes sense to have it in my garden. You can skip this if you're not a fan of it. It is optional. Soup tastes great by itself. So we're gonna plate this up. I put rice in it first and then add my base and my meat. So we'll do that now. I know I skipped on the rice and how to cook it, but to be completely honest, I just use a rice cooker. I know I cheat, but I'm not really that good at cooking rice. So rice cooker is awesome for me. It's quick. I don't have to fuss with it. So, plate this up. Smells so good. You can smell the fish sauce and chicken, a little bit of everything. It just comes together so nice. I like a lot of broth in mine. It is a soup, so the more the merrier. All right, that looks good. Last but not least, dress it up with some green onion. So, as you guys may already know, I am a guest on this channel, and I've had the privilege to share with you one of my recipes, something I've learned. But I would be remiss if I did not have the owner of this channel come and approve of what you guys are about to see. Go.
Now, let's try what David cooked, and well, we'll see. It's good. Tastes sweet, and a little bit salt. It's perfect.
I passed. You give it a thumbs up. You co-sign. 3 thumbs up, guys. So if you'd like this recipe, we're going to leave a description down below. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We will have more cooking videos to come.
With David. Sorry.